40 years ago, a friend thought I had a boring life and told me to take a hike, literally. This led to my first misadventure on a hike to Mary's Rock in Shenandoah National Park. I lost the trail, ran into a snake, climbed up the side of a mountain back to the trail, and took a wrong turn at the junction on the way back and ended up on the highway. In spite of this rough beginning, I absolutely loved it and ended up doing many hikes, including my first backpacking trip in the snow in the Shenandoah. Then, a friend loaned me Colin Fletcher's book, The Man Who Walked Through Time, a chronicle of his 1963 Grand Canyon backpack from Havasupai to Nankivell. I was immediately captivated by his experience and finally did my first Grand Canyon adventure in 1987 with Willard's Adventure Club, a nonprofit group from Canada. I was so mesmerized by the canyon that I finally moved to Arizona in 1990. From 1990 through 2014, I did multiple trips to Thunder River, Deer Creek, Hermit, and led many friends and family through the main corridor of South Kaibab and Bright Angel trails for their first time. I also did many solo backpacking trips, as well as rim to rim in one day, twice. As I passed my 70th birthday, each trip I did after 2019, I said would be my last. Finally, after finding myself going slower and slower with knee problems and all sorts of other aches and pains that sometimes come with age, I decided that 2023, now in my 75th year, might just be my last. I drove up to the canyon a day early so I could bum around and not be rushed. After doing a day hike on the rim trail from South Kaibab back to the visitor center, I spent the rest of my time getting my pack together. After making some changes and packing some of my fears related to possible cold nights, my gear was packed and weighed in at 31.4 pounds. 14 pounds was water and food. Ugh, it's almost 4 a.m. I hate getting up in the dark, but I need to make it to the backcountry office to get the 5 a.m. Hikers Express shuttle to South Kaibab Trailhead. It wasn't as cold as I thought it would be, and I chatted briefly with other hikers waiting for the bus. It was too dark for me to start on the trail, so I waited until I could see the trail without a flashlight, and down I went. Though slow, everything was going pretty well as I made it to Ooh-Ah Point at 0.9 miles, Cedar Ridge at 1.5 miles, and Skeleton Point at 3 miles. It was getting pretty hot, so I put up my umbrella, which really did make it cooler. Then the Tunnel Junction at 4.5 miles, where I ate an early lunch. This is typically where my feet start to hurt. However, I continued on down the switchbacks and my feet felt great for the first time ever. Must be my new Topo clown shoes. All was well until the last mile when I started to feel nauseated and just out of it. I poked 30 steps at a time until I made it to camp. Once at camp, all I could do was sit there with my head on the table for a couple of hours and drink electrolytes. A kind couple, Kelly and Eli, asked if I was okay and brought me water and extra Propel packets. I don't know what happened. I ate and drank adequately, so I thought. After 3 hours, I was back to normal though. I didn't get my usual beer at the canteen though. Bummer. What a gorgeous day. After a leisurely breakfast of oatmeal, I decided to do a 2-mile stroll out the river trail. Seems that the Colorado River is looking rather brown, usually an indication that it has rained someplace upstream. Back at camp, I ate lunch, plus the rest of my lunch I didn't eat yesterday, and then headed to the canteen for my beer. I was doing my happy dance when I saw they had a hazy IPA, even if it did cost $8. I saw Kelly and Eli and talked to them for quite a while. What a lovely couple. I really appreciated their concern for me yesterday. So many people just seem to not notice or be that concerned for others nowadays. All in all, today was simply magnificent, even if I didn't have a second IPA, though I did get a lemonade. Tomorrow, it's up in the dark again to try to beat the sun of Devil's Corkscrew. Up in the dark again. This is the only thing I hate about coming into the canyon during hot weather. You really have to beat the heat. And since I'm so slow, I'm even more obligated to get up early. For the most part, my hike to Havasupai Gardens was uneventful. I did see a weird green caterpillar and stopped to photograph it. This strange creature seemed to want to follow my shoes. Every time I moved my foot, it turned towards my shoe. Maybe it's these clown shoes. Since he was in the middle of the trail, I tried to move him so he wouldn't get trampled. I certainly hope he made it. I generally like site number 4, but decided to go to site number 13 this time. It looked like it would have more shade longer in the day. It was a good sight, but I swear the canyon is so rocky that it's really hard to get tent stakes pounded in. I actually broke 2 stakes. This is when a freestanding tent would be much better. But I love my Durston. After another relaxing breakfast, I went to walk around for a couple of miles to stretch my legs. I didn't go all the way to Plateau Point, but just took in the flowers and how well the streams are running with water. About 1/10 of a mile of the trail yesterday was pretty much a stream. I've never seen it that bad before. I've talked to so many people on this trip. I must have been sending out different vibes this time since I don't usually talk to a lot of people on my trips. I met Bill, 72 years young, from Colorado, who said I inspired him. We talked about the challenges of aging and backpacking. A lot of people liked my dinosaur gaiters and my tent. That's the Durston. And of course, the Rangers. One Ranger I've seen before, Della, is retiring. Helen, a volunteer ranger, saved me when my fuel canister died. I didn't realize they had so many items to loan when things go wrong. So, my trip is coming to an end. It's up in the dark again tomorrow to do that 3,000-foot climb out. Woohoo! Last day I have to get up in the dark. Of course, everyone around me is also up and getting gear together. I'm poking up the trail through what seems like endless switchbacks that the Park Service has designed as a stair-stepper. Up Jacob's Ladder and finally at the 3-mile rest stop. Then up more switchbacks to where the last half mile to the 1.5-mile rest stop seems to take forever. At last, the second tunnel at 0.9 miles. Then there's a switchback that seems to go on forever. but at the end you can see the top. The first tunnel, almost there, and at last the final switchback. Somewhere around the 3-mile rest stop, I met Stacy and Amanda. We chatted a bit, and I found them quite delightful. They brought a smile to my face. I saw them again at the 1.5-mile rest stop. I also told them about Yavapai Tavern and the Pebble Head Hazy IPA. As I was resting here, a guy comes down the trail, stretches out his hand to shake mine, and says, "You must be Harriet." Took a second, but that was Stacy and Amanda's doing. Another lady did the same thing. All I could do was laugh. I saw Stacy and Amanda with the rest of their group at the tavern. What a perfect end to my backpacking trip. I have to say, I've had a good run in exploring the Grand Canyon. I've had trips where I dragged myself out sick, got helicoptered out, lost a lot of toenails, lost the trail, been in 110 plus degrees at the beginning of the trip, and come out in snow in June. But there were many more times when I didn't want to leave, had lizards keeping me company, saw a squirrel with no tail, saw the largest rattlesnake ever, played with dragonflies, and sat in wonder of the rocks, cliffs, sunrises, and sunsets. Just maybe one more trip?